This session is about the problem reaction solution. How they use this method, this mechanism for the ideological subversion through which they give us their desired solution, which they already prepared in the shadows, on which they already do their homework, on which they make each and every plan A, plan B, and plan C. But we are not doing our critical thinking, we are not doing our further learning, we are not connecting the dots. And the new sciences tell us that everything, every event, every happening is a pattern. But we only become part of the trap of mainstream media, and that trap make us in addictive personalities, and that is why we believe what they tell us, and that is the reason we are now the part of a ideological subversion, and that ideological subversion prevent us from believing the perception of the reality, despite of the fact we have authentic information, authentic proofs, authentic documentation, but we still follow the mainstream media. And they are using not only the power of repetition, but also they make it such an extent that we believe, despite of the facts, despite of the information that is totally based on the reality, and we never doing our critical thinking so that we analyze the level of what they tell to us. So here they create a problem, and that problem not on such a scale, but they make it worse through the mainstream media repetition. And that power of repetition is now not on the level of thousand repetition, not on the level of million repetition, but even it goes toward the billions repetition. So we are already hardwired to power of repetition. They make a problem, and then they give us a reaction which they create in deeper in the shadow through their planning sessions, and then that reaction they divert toward their desired solution. And through this methodology they impose what they want, what the 1% want, what the corporations want. And now we are in the trap of mainstream media, in the trap of corporate elites, in the trap of 1% planning. And that is the reason we are not doing our critical thinking, and we are not pausing these things for a while and never analyzing, is these deaths are enough that we shut down the whole economy. We have four pillars in the ideological subversion, in which we the part of the trap, and they use it, and it have the four pillars. And the number one pillar is the demoralization. They demoralize us to such an extent that despite of the facts that we have authentic information, we have authentic proofs, we have authentic documentation, but we follow them, and that demoralization almost take 10 to 15 to 20 years. And that is a time in which they educate almost one generation according to their wishes, according to their desire, and they make us dumb, and we never doing the critical thinking. Despite we have the truth, we have the facts, we have the authentic information, we have the documentation, but we believe what they told us, as they target almost 3 generations. And that is the reason it is a slow brainwashing. It is a great brainwashing, and that brainwashing believe us that we are receiving the truth from the mainstream media, we are receiving the truth from the academic industrial complex, and we are receiving the truth from the medical industrial complex. We believe them as authority, and that is again the part of demoralization. After that the thing come, that is destabilization, that it destabilize the whole economy. And the third one is the crisis, which they use as a violent change of power, violent change of structure and economy. And in the fourth stage, they promise for the normalization, and that stage is also known as a normalization. They promise for the good thing, for the paradise on earth, despite of the fact that they are not fulfilling these promises, but they give us again the deception that they are going to normalize. And that is why we thanks those power, and that power become a big authority in our life, and we follow them our entire life. So here I implement this problem reaction solution and ideological subversion on the COVID-19, that we are in the trap of ideological subversion. This is not about the virus, it's about the economics. We are not doing our critical thinking, to think for a while, to think that these deaths are enough for shutdowning the whole economy, used as a tool for the global reset, so that the economies suffer and the free market collapse. For them is an opportunity to rush and to own, and that is the reason the small businesses collapse. And it all about the economy, not about the viruses. And here we are not asking that what are the scientific foundation for the mask, that the viruses have a very little sizes, and we are using the mask. Is mask can protect us? Is immune system doesn't play a role? But here all these are things are done for power, these are for control, these are for controlling the economy, the economics. And that is the reason of my whole session, that let's come and do our critical thinking and realize that either this is a trap or this is the thing which make us empower, but they give us only the deception of collectivism, that it is for the greater good of greater people. Here again a deception of social distancing. We are not asking about the scientific foundation, but we only follow the mainstream media, the corporate elites, the corporate health sector, and that make us vulnerable, and our economies become collapse. And the 1% which always have the concept of businesses when the street rush with blood. So here everywhere is a fear-based economy, and they exactly know about the survival brain. That is the reason they utilize it for their interests and for their global reset. But we are only following the mainstream media, we are only following the governments, which is again funded, and that funded authorities make our perception of what, that we need the vaccine, and only the new normal is vaccination. And here they impose the vaccination with the passport, with the traveling restriction, and they make it connected with the implementation by the force authorities, by the authorities which are the part of military police state. The more we give them the rope, the more easily they hang all of us. So we have to do our critical thinking, we have to connect the points, connect the dot, so that we remain on the side of opportunities, so that we avoid the side of crisis, and so that we only do the practices which empower us, which improve us.